welcome to Who Dares Rolls. I'm your host, Mike B, and this is another Mumbo Jumbo for December. We are in December. We are hurtling towards that festive one day of a year where everyone loses their shit over, spends too much money, and then lays around suffering from turkey overdose. That happens after spending many years in retail. For a long time, the C word was unmentionable in my house. But I'm slowly warming to it. I have a toddler, a 4-year-old who is currently filled with the joys of Christmas. Some would argue almost too much. But yeah, he is fucking ready for it, the big day. And we've still got 19 or so more to go. So it's going to be a long fucking December, is all I have to say. So yeah, here we are. Video's been a bit haphazard, I'll be honest. Yes, there's been a lot of shit going on. The castle Who Dares Rolls, there's been issues. There's been sickness. I had the man flu last week. I've still got a bit of it, but I'm over the worst of it. The dear indoors who does not ball game has suffered more badly from it, and I spent the entire weekend on total child duties, and it was quite exhausting. But yeah, she's still not quite 100%, so it's been just a struggle generally, and shit and stuff and nonsense. But let's crack on, because there's a full agenda of shit here. I've written some stuff down here on a piece of paper, so there we go. There's effort been made. So let's fucking crack on with it, shall we? Jolly good. Right, let's do what I've been playing. Played. Okay. Assassin's Creed dice game, Orlog dice. Played that with Ben probably a couple of weeks ago now. It's based on the video game Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I've never played, but I heard very good things about the dice. It was on Kickstarter. I backed it on a whim. The idea I thought was that Ben was going to back it as well, and we're going to have 2 sets to play 4 players and a championship and blah blah blah. He never did that. Anyway, I've had it sat on my shelf, never played it. So we played that when there was just me and Ben a few weeks back, because we were also teaching ourselves Oath, and then it was alright. What I remember, it was okay. It didn't set my world on fire, but it was okay stuff. You're rolling dice. Basically, it's 2-player head to head. You roll dice and you pick certain things, and you use the dice to attack or defend, which I presume is very much like the video game equivalent of it, which I've not played. So yeah, anyway, it was fine. I think it sells for stripping money. I'm sure I saw it quite expensive, and it seems overly expensive. But yeah, I'm not sure it's for me. It was okay. I just don't feel I'm going to have the time to invest in it, because it's a 2-player game. I just don't have the time to sit and play 2-player games. So there you go. Anyway, that. Terracotta Army, we played some more of that. Covered that in the last video anyway. I think we played the 3rd or 4th game of it, and I got fucking mashed. Tony did really well. And it's alright. I still stand on the thing that I think it's wildly swingy. I like what it's doing. I enjoy the tactics of it. I feel that it is quite random, which, just for the thing, I like random in my games. I like Tapestry because it is unbalanced and there is random shit in it. However, this one almost feels like it swings too far into the random area. Even for me, just you can't plan anything because of that wheel and because our stuff's moving. There is no plan to be made. I need to play some more, but it is a good game. However, I feel that the ratio to good game versus the random shit is going to happen, and potentially you're not going to be able to get a good game out of it. Where's that land? I'm not sure. The seesaw on that one is possibly tilting towards the... but anyway, aesthetically quite cool and all that, but I like it. It's another one of these board and dice ones that they get so close. They are like on the vinegar strokes, and then there's a bucket of ice water in the crutch, and no fun times. I think Origins First Builders, I think it was called, is the one of theirs they really satisfactorily boffed it out the gate, and I really enjoy that, and I need to go back to it and play it again. Everything else is kind of an almost run. Nearly there. Blue balls. Anyway, that. So we played that. Everdell, we played Everdell. Fuck yes, we played Everdell. So for the last few weeks, everyone's Facebook has been just covered, shingled, as it were, pebble dashed with Everdell Big Box. It's huge, and I mean a big fucking box. Ben had backed this. He had Everdell, I think, anyway, the base game, and I played that a little while back, and I was underwhelmed by it. I thought the big cardboard tree was stupid, and we all agreed it was a bit stupid. And generally, aside from the aesthetics, which are very cool, and it looks nice, it's essentially kind of like Imperial Settlers, but the base game just felt a little bit lacking. So anyway, we played again. I didn't dislike it. I just found it just a little bit. Didn't have any teeth. Needed something. So we played it again. And he dug out the big box, which it was truly a big box, and we got out the stuff and we played a expansion, or one of the expansions, or bits of, into the game. And that gave us asynchronous powers. It also gave us some extra little bits on the board and a fruit market or something. So if you know what I'm talking about, you'll know what that expansion was. I presume it was one expansion. It didn't, I don't think, alter the actual main deck. It's just, I may be wrong, but anyway, that happened. And that made a big difference to me. A massive, significantly huge fucking big difference to me. The asynchronous powers was really cool. I liked my one was drawing more cards. It allowed to churn that deck a bit more with the stuff that was going on. Just more stuff to do on the board. Got rid of the tree, because there's a board you can just put down to replace the tree. Kind of cool. It just makes it easier to see everything that's going on. Obviously, in the second play, I kind of got to it a bit more. I felt very well. I ended up coming in second, or joint second, or around that area. But yes, my feeling on Everdell is it is significantly improved by that expansion. Significantly so. However, there's a big fucking box, and there's more expansions. We haven't played them yet. So A, interesting. C, that's a big fucking box. It's a lot of money for that. I don't know. But anyway, it looks cool, and I can't knock it for aesthetics and all the shit and all the coloured and stickered meeples and blah, 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 lots of stuff. It essentially is a card game, though. Let's shuffle all that off. It's a very expensive card game. And it's kind of Imperial Settlers. So I think, which I will come back to in a second. But yeah, I was not unamused by it. I enjoyed it. I quite liked it. I would like to see what else the other expansions do, because I like what that did, and it made it significantly better. I would be one, if you don't own any of those engine builder card-based games, such as Imperial Settlers, or Empires of the North, or 51st State, or Everdell, definitely ones that come to mind at the minute, I would say, it's worthy of a look. And I would say base game Everdell isn't as good as base game Imperial Settlers. Probably level pegging with Invaders of the North. Maybe Invaders of the North tops it a little bit for me, but it's close. However, with the expansion we played in it, I would say it definitely, Invaders of the North drops off that one. And 51st State is down there somewhere, but we'll come back to that. So I like 51st State. Imperial Settlers will drop off because it takes too fucking long to play. But I like it. And I think Everdell's up there. So there you go. There is that. I will skim forward now. So what did we play the weekend? Just played some stuff. Now we played a couple of things. We played Video Game Highschool, which has been on my shelf for a long time. I played this a few times when the boys were younger. And I think I remember Ollie or George being obsessed with the Video Game Highschool YouTube series back in the day when there was like 3 or 4 things to watch on YouTube. This was, I believe, one of them. I'm sure of it. Anyway, it's a kind of random worker placement. It's set in a video game high school, which now seems a bit twee in comparison to when it first came out. Was kind of maybe a bit cool, but now it just feels a little bit but yeah, you have worker placement. You have these bits, cartoon character things. You pin down. You have 3 of them. You put them on the board. They are essentially, you've got arcades at the top of the game that you're trying to score points on by collecting tokens. Tokens, I say. Some are permanent, some are not so permanent. And spending on that, rolling lots of dice, rolling loads of fucking dice, which is kind of cool. And dice are nice. Rolling them and trying to make sets and score loads of fucking points. And whoever scores 50 points first wins the game. And that's kind of it. But you set scores on video game things, different things, by collecting the symbols. I'm not making a big deal. And it kind of aesthetically kind of works, thematically kind of works, because you've got these arcade cabinets you're scoring high scores on. There is player powers on all the characters, and some of them seem to be wildly crazy, and maybe not entirely balanced. And I think it plays up to 4, but there's enough for 6 different characters, so you can mix it up, and there's some special cards there of each. But yeah, it all seems, it's very take that, very attacky, very and you know what, actually as a very quick play, we ended up doing it in just over an hour because I taught it, but it would be something you can get out and play. And actually, you know what, it's fun and it's vicious. It is vicious and it's kind of unbalanced, and probably totally unavailable at this point in time because it's probably about 7-8 years old. But so I don't know what I'm talking about it. But you know what, it was all right. If you see it for like a £5, I would pick it up pick it up for £5. It's not bad. But you know, if you haven't got many of those types of games, I think it might now sit around and maybe come out a few times as just a real quick throw to the table and do horrible things to each other type stuff. Maybe. And then we played Imperial Settlers. Ta-da! Which I've not played for a while. I always poo-poo playing this because Jamie wanted to play this a few times. The problem I have with the game, and there's 4 of us, it just goes on too long. It really is a long game. And so Robbie wasn't available because he had my man flu, so he didn't turn up. So me, Tony and Jamie, and I said, you know what, let's play Imperial Settlers. And you know what, the Atlanteans is in here, and I haven't played them or touched them for years, and I have a credit in the rulebook for the Atlanteans because I remember back in the mists of time, in those early bygone days of Twitter, those happy times, and the dawn of sort of Portal really becoming a thing, Ignacy used to tweet a lot about his design process, and he was in the process of designing a couple of new factions for Imperial Settlers, which a game I absolutely adored at the time, and I still like Imperial Settlers, and I interacted in some tweetery with him over ideas for games mechanisms and stuff you could use in games that eventually developed into the Atlanteans and the Aztecs. And you know what? I didn't fully design all that, but I put forward some stuff, being a big thing, human sacrifice for the Aztecs, and that seemed to make its way in, and some stuff about the Atlanteans and using mechanisms and stuff. It kind of made its way in, and I got a name of the thing. And you know what? I enjoyed those days. They were much more just fun and carefree, weren't they? Nowadays, you would tweet on Twitter and you'd get shit would get down. I mean, Twitter, let's not even go there. Anyway, it's a long ramble. People say, played the Atlanteans. I absolutely fucking creamed the other guys. They got absolutely massacred by my Atlanteans. Good job, Robbie wasn't there. I covered my entire side of the thing. It took ages. It did take a good couple of hours to play. I enjoyed it. I forgot how much I do enjoy Imperial Settlers. But yeah, it was fun. I still think it is a really good game. I think the problem is it really is a really good game. If you play it 2, it's going to be fun. It is just a bit long, but it's still pretty good. And it definitely had a bit more teeth than 51st State and Empires of the North that came out subsequently. They kind of sanitized it a bit. 51st State kind of steers you down routes with the factions. You kind of are going to be doing one thing, whereas this is very sandboxy. And Empires of the North kind of takes this and kind of streamlines it down, maybe loses some of its flavour in the process. So I think this still is the good draw for me. It was good fun. I enjoyed that. Just revisiting that. And it's one I wouldn't get rid of. I do like it. Stuff. That's it. Let's do some news. Here is the news. So news, very quick stuff. Terraforming Mars is being made into a movie. Apparently, the board game Terraforming Mars, the rights have been grabbed by someone to make a board game of it. Well, no, a movie of it. Yeah. Now, personally, my thing is, I suspect there's going to be a lawsuit down the road regarding this, and I tweeted this. I put this on Facebook the other day when it was announced. Only because basically it's just robbed virtually all the storyline and the Kim Stanley Robinson Mars trilogy, which I will admit I've never read, but I nearly came close a couple of times, having enjoyed the board game. But I do know enough to know that great big lumps of it were basically bits of cards and shit and stuff that goes on in the game. It's taken from all those Mars books. And I'm sure at some point down the line, and this thing starts gaining momentum and script is produced, if this ever comes to pass, someone somewhere is going to go from a Kim Stanley Robinson area is going to go, hold on a minute, that sounds awfully familiar, and shit might get real. But that's happening. Okay, Mars is a thing. Another thing which I was directed towards, thank you, James, was the Cool Mini or Not comics, the TI4 comics. They're forthcoming. I don't know exactly when they are. I don't think it's been actually announced yet. But amongst them, with the comic books, they showed this splendiferous pile of plastic, which was flagships. I think there was about 7 of them, maybe more, flagships for some of the factions of Twilight Imperium. which is kind of cool. It's nice to have its own dedicated mini for the flagships. That's kind of cool. But then my joy just dissipates because it's called mini, and clearly this is going to cost a fucking fortune. So it's nice, but I'm never probably going to have it because I'm not going to be able to really sit there and go justify spending probably the price of that fucking box of plastic and goodies that is TI4 for the price of 6 miniatures or S7 miniatures. Let's be realistic. That's probably what's going to happen. I prepare myself to be surprised and proved wrong, but I don't feel it. So anyway, it's a cool thing, but what else is going on in the world? Well, Porter games. A bit of the Porter prostitution thing here. This, I remember playing the original version. I may have been the second edition, I don't know, but I did play whatever edition of it many years ago at a convention, really enjoying it, and liking the theme and the stuff. And then missing the Kickstarter for this, and just stuff had happened, and so I saw it at the Black Friday sales, and I picked it up at a reasonable price. So I will hopefully play that this week or the weekend or something, because I haven't played it for a long time and I want to see what they did to refine it. I can't remember much of it, but I do remember it's a kind of really cool economic game that is based in the fashion industry. This version of it at one point was going to be based on the video game industry, because Ignacy was working alongside Richard Ham of Rado fame, who spent many years in the video game industry, and this was going to be rethemed as that for this third edition. For whatever reasons, that never came to pass, so it just basically got reprinted in its original theme, which I have no beef with. So yeah, it is a Euro-y, it's heavy, it's a economic-y type thing, of you running your fashion business and stuff. The new 11 football management game did kind of invoke some of this level of stuff for me, but bloated. And that's out for review. I don't know if I'm going to get a copy of review. I'm not the end of the world for me if I don't or do, because I'm not the world's biggest football fan. But anyway, we'll look at this instead. Lovely. It's got some frilly dresses and stuff, which would be nice. So that's that. What else have I been up to? Hearthstone has just dropped the Lich King expansion. I'm still playing it. I've played Hearthstone when it came out, and you know what? I like the core game of Hearthstone. I went into the Battlegrounds. I really enjoyed that for a while, and still do. We play it regularly, weekly, at least once a week. We play it, me and the boys. However, I'm really not happy with some of the shit, the currencies type bollocks that's taken place in there. But it's EA, what are you going to do in Blizzard? But yeah, Hearthstone, the core Hearthstone game is cool. They've just released the Lich King patch. What it basically does, adds the Death Knights into Hearthstone. There's a little bit you've got to play through, kind of give you a bit of Lich King-y history, and then you get to play as the Death Knights, which they added a new rune mechanism into the game, where certain cards have certain runes on, so your deck can only contain certain mixes of these runes, and it's just adding a bit more variety. And also I think there's a new currency in the game that those Lich Kings specifically have, which is they kill things and they rack up corpses. It's a little resource at the bottom which they can then use on the cards in their decks. I don't know if everyone can do that, because I haven't actually played the main core game. I just did the intro thing. But it's kind of cool, and I think potentially we'll see down the road is they will probably shake up the other classes to do similar to thing, maybe, as the Death Knights are doing. I need to play some more of it. I had that, and so that's as far as I will say on that, because I haven't really played much more of it than that, but it's kind of cool, and I do like a bit of that. I've been playing a bit of Marvel Snap. It's okay, I'm enjoying that, but actually this has got my attention at the moment. What else is going on? Facebook is just... Of late, the last couple of weeks, I'm just going to have a little rant. This is not new. This is really not news. But yeah, people resonant on Facebooks and social of the medias, as we do. And of late, there seems to be an awful lot of people will post something, and it's a reasonable argument, or it's a reasonable comment, it's a reasonable complaint, something that they're stating something regarding a supplier or something else where something's gone tits up. And there seems to be a flock of these mansplainer types on there, or just instantly jump into defensive stuff where you're sat there going, why have you got anything in this game? Why do you feel the need to come in and from this really skewed viewpoint and make... okay, this is the fucking internet, I know. Maybe I've seen it more recently in Facebook a lot, maybe in some of the groups of the Board Game Trading Chat is one of them. I've seen a lot of that. Maybe a lot of people have joined of late, and maybe that's what's happened. We've got an influx of the internet into it. But there was just a lot of where you just sit there going, What the fuck are you on about? Or why do you feel the need to talk this shit and say, no, but you know, just a lot of that going on. No, I know it's the internet. I know it goes on, but it's fucking me off at the moment. It's just like, no, just keyboard warriors everywhere. It's not new. I appreciate this is not breaking news, but it just seems to have of late really just seems to be a bit more prevalent, a bit of my tits. And Twitter's a dumpster fire. So I barely go on Twitter now because I just can't face it, frankly. Stuff. Anyway, that's off my chest. So there we go. Other stuff. I watched Nope the other day. Jordan Peele's third movie. It got mixed reviews. I really enjoyed it, to be fair. Yeah, I really did. It's kind of left. It's one of those that I watched it and I enjoyed it. And it left me with the brain going afterwards. And just lots to think about. Us, I hadn't so much of, but this one really did, and what it was doing. And I don't want to say too much because I could get into spoiler territory, but it's a cool film, very much referenced a lot of Spielberg stuff. I like the idea of what its essentially message is. It's kind of skewering the big spectacle movies and the sort of like the money shots and all that. And it's doing all that whilst spending a fucking fortune on a movie and giving you lots of money shots. It's kind of what it's doing. I think that's what it's kind of doing. It's what it's saying about other things, about how you can't tame wild creatures. It's got some interesting diversions and it looks gorgeous and it's just different and it's cool. There's a lot of vibe of Jaws in some areas of it, of what it's doing. A lot of Spielberg generally, and I really enjoyed it. So that was Nope from Jordan Peele. I recommend it if any of that sounds interesting to you. TV wise, I've been watching Slow Horses. Actually, I've just started watching Slow Horses. Gary Oldman's in it. It's a spy thing, very kind of John le Carre, but with more farts. And that's actually generally been. I've watched the first series, the second series just dropped, so I'm going to watch through. But on the whole, pretty entertaining. Of that sort of kitchen sink spy drama type shit, kind of, but with some pizzazz going in there. And Oldman's having a lovely time, acting himself into a loveliness. Just an unpleasant, sarcastic, vicious, horrible person. Really, not very nice at all. Don't know why I appreciate it. But that's good. And then Andor finished. That was very fucking good. I said enough on Andor. I think it's one of this year's shows for me personally. I think it's very good. And something else. I don't know. So why should I watch something else? That's all of that. I've been thinking about. What We Do in the Shadows. I fucking missed that there was an entire full fucking season had come out of that. And it's on Disney. And I honestly thought I'd seen it and I hadn't. So that was a pleasant surprise. I've had a whole season of What We Do in the Shadows to watch and I've just watched 3 or 4 of them. And that's fucking brilliant. Loving a bit of that. Indiana Jones trailer dropped. Ooh, I quite pleasantly. I'm like, ooh, that looks pretty good. And that's it. I've probably watched other stuff and done other things, but that's it. That's enough to be doing with, I feel, to be doing. So there you go. There we are. That's it. All the stuff. I'll be back soon. Have a lovely December. I will be back hopefully before Christmas. I'll try and get a video out before Christmas, okay? So if I don't, happy Christmas, but it's early December. We can do this shit. And stay safe out there and all the other shit. And don't go to the internet and don't write stupid comments on the internet. Stop it now. And I hope things and make wishes and stuff. Rambling incoherently. Fuck off. Then all of you go, fuck off. I've got the time for it anymore. I'm going to go and have a lay down. Good night.